Good afternoon. Sorry about my picture, but I'm having troubles with my internet today. So we're gathering a wellness gathering, and we're presenting the ownership with the principles of the core alignment. And today we're going to focus on I for impeccable. Lynne, take it away.
Okay, impeccability, eh? It's a big word. And I did not look it up. So we're going to dive into what's in here and what's in your heads to figure this one out. So we're going to start with the question. And the question we are going to answer today is, tell us something that makes you smile. So my name is Lynne, and I am in Calgary, Alberta. And something that makes me smile. Well, the first thing that came up in my mind was animals and dogs, particularly. We don't have a dog and we don't have any pets actually, but anytime that I'm out walking or out where there's dogs, like there's a dog run area, I love just talking to the dogs when I see them. And they make me smile because I think they're, they're often, their expression can be, either loud or they're just curious all the time. So how about you, Dawn Marie?
I'm Dawn Marie Times, and I am residing in Sacramento, California. And what makes me smile is when I put something on my calendar to have lunch with a girlfriend and that day arrives, I just get all excited because I get to start thinking about, where we're going to go, what I'm going to wear, what our conversation is going to be, and just getting to reconnect with that person. So that's what makes me smile.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Lorraine.
Okay, I'm Lorraine. I'm in British Columbia. What makes me smile is when I get out of bed in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and I say, "See, gee, I've made it to another day." I'm going to smile today. And it's amazing if you put that smile on your face, it changes your whole mindset. It changes my mindset.
Awesome. Olive?
Lately, what's been making me smile
say your name and say where you are.
Oh, sorry. My name's Olive, and today I'm in Walker Lake, Saskatchewan. And what's been making me smile lately is watching the growth of our little duck family we have out here. It's a mama mallard. She has 8 babies, which is a big hatching for a duck of any kind, I think. And she brings them, we're in a little bay. She brings them around, probably 3 or 4 times a day. And lately she's been giving them a lot more freedom. She sits up on the dock and she watches them swim. And I'm thinking, oh, mama, you deserve that break. She's been making me laugh lately.
Awesome. How about you, Hattie Jane?
Hi, I'm Hattie Jane, and I live in Falls Church, Virginia, down just outside of Washington, D.C. And, well, it's my cats. I really enjoy them. It's like they have such grace, and they look at you like, "What you up, little lady? Come on, get up now." Great company.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, so we're going to be speaking about impeccability. And, it's interesting with even just what we've shared, we've shared a little bit of, I think, about the quality of impeccability of, when we show up, when we keep our word, when we know what we want, when we ask for it, and when we actually, show up and make it happen and have that natural attitude of gratitude along the way. It brings a lot of smile and sense of satisfaction to our faces, even just sharing either cats or dogs or nature and ducks, and, or even just getting up and smiling at myself in the morning, right? It goes a long way. So let's look at impeccability. So What does impeccability mean to you, Dawn Marie?
It's interesting because when I saw Lorraine's email about the word impeccable, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get the dictionary out for that one. but what I instantly thought about was, you know, a person being point on about what they say they're going to do and show up and do it. I think about the first time Lorraine invited me to this call. Ben Woodward was going to speak. And Ben Woodward was having a challenge that day of getting his schedule to coincide with being the presenter for Lorraine's event. But I saw him staying in contact with Lorraine, letting her know his every moment of where he was, whether he can make it, whether he was going to be able to be the presenter for that day. And he was driving and he was really doing his best to make it there. And I thought, you know, that's impeccable. He was a man of his word and he really stayed in contact with Lorraine to let her know his whereabouts and whether or not he would be able to make it, instead of just blowing it off and, you know, sending her an email and not communicating with her. He really stayed on point with being in contact with her to let her know his whereabouts and whether he can make the event.
Yeah, so that impeccability is being point on.
Right.
And showing up and doing it, even in the face of the obstacles that come or could
Absolutely.
come along.
Yeah.
How about you, Olive? What does it mean to you?
I was like Dawn Marie, I looked it up and my definition was perfect without flaws. And I thought that's something I don't strive for in my life anymore, is perfection. I'm happy with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. And I don't strive to be impeccable. I think I did at one point in my life, but I don't now. So that's impeccable to me.
Got it. How about you, Hattie Jane?
Well, Olive and Dawn Marie, yep. And I, like Olive, was like, no. And yet, there are sometimes you just see something or you hear something and it's just spot on. And it's not so much that I'm impeccable, but like with Ben's actions the other day and his response and how he showed how we can be as a person and how it feels to be that, to be the reception of that pattern of activity by someone. That comes close. But impeccable has, well, for so long has been a goal that I never reached. Work in progress. But still, it's like, then you think of a rainbow after a storm. You think of just a moment in time in nature, or the warmth of a friend, call. And this, it just seems right. So that's the closest to impeccable I can come.
Nice. So a moment in time. There's an impeccability with a moment in time, isn't there? No matter what's going on. How about you, Lorraine? What does impeccable mean to you?
Well, when I read...
let's go with what you thought it meant, as opposed, because I mean...
Well, I think I believe that impeccable means it's purity of your word. You're keeping your word, and you're being honest and open and clear. However, I always seem to have a judgment of other people that I listen to or have heard, and lately it's been a lot of garbage, that I start judging other people that they sure in hell aren't, pardon me, my language, aren't impeccable. They're not true to their word, and they're not worthy even to listen to. So I have that balance of, or two edges of the sword of how people could be a lot better in what they're saying and the message that they're giving.
Yeah, and our words are, it's so much with keeping our word and what our words are and what words am I using on the day-to-day, just in general conversations, and how am I creating my outcome through the words I'm using. So let's just look at, you know, how you are impeccable with yourself and keeping your word, like, you know, and how you can be more assertive through being more impeccable with yourself. So how would you define being impeccable with yourself? Hattie Jane?
I really don't have any idea, because reality is such that right now things are constantly in flux. And it was like, whoa, Rome, I'm not, I could be, I should. And it's like, crap, nope, I'm here in this moment in time. And I made some things okay. So it's almost like impeccable doesn't have a vocabulary place for me anymore. Even in recognizing other people's beautiful honesty and commitment and trustability, they're perfect, not perfect. They're human. So there's going to be sometimes when they're going to be down as opposed to up. So it's almost like that doesn't have a vocabulary place for me anymore. It's weird. Because for years I would judgmental, do it, prescribe it, be what it should be. Oh well, hell with it now.
What about you, Olive? How can you be more impeccable for yourself?
Don't mean to come at it from a negative angle, but I don't want to be impeccable with myself. I want to be fair with myself and fair with the people in my life, but I don't expect perfection from myself or from the people in my life. So that's where I stand with impeccability.
Got it. Thank you. How about you, Dawn Marie, when you think of impeccable?
Well, I'm coming at it from a different spin. I belong to a Toastmasters club, and it's a club that I help to create. And so I really feel responsible for showing up, and if I say I'm going to take on a role, then do it. And, you know, there's leadership that comes along with that. But I've been dragging my feet here lately in the summer and not really wanting to really do a speech, just, you know, kind of participate and, you know, be present in the meetings, but not really doing what you come to Toastmasters to do. You come to learn how to be a better speaker. And so I've been dragging my feet, and I signed up to do a speech, and something came up and I had to back out, and, you know, then I put myself back on the calendar, and then something else came up, and it's like, oh no, I'm not feeling like, you know, I'm being true to the club or to myself. And so this week I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start reviewing my notes, getting it together, and letting the VP of Education know, okay, put me on the calendar, I'm ready to do a speech. And so when I think about being impeccable, it's not so much about feeling honest or anything like that. It's just about, if I say I'm going to do something, then just do it. And that's what it means to me, is just being a person of your word and following through. And I guess if I live long enough and get to the place where Lorraine and Hattie Jane are at, you know, I probably will say, you know, it doesn't matter. Just I'm going to do what I want to do. And I don't care what they think. And, you know, I don't have to go into my head and start trying to reanalyze it. It's just be okay with it. It is what it is. So one day I'll get there.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, you know, when I think of being impeccable, it brings up this energy around just being true to myself and true to what I can and can't do, and being okay with canceling a cycle if it's something that I need to say no to, as opposed to saying yes. And I think there's somewhere for me, when I think of being impeccable, it's just being really true to what's true for me. And it's not to be wishy-washy and just not do things for the sake of not doing them, but sometimes a no is far better than a yes, 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 yes. So when I think of impeccability, it's that on point. It's being spot on. But it's this internal place in myself where, am I really being true to myself here by saying yes to this or saying no to it? And I, you know, because I don't feel like I need to show up for everything, because there's a whole world going on out there, and where am I best serving? You know, because if I'm demeaning myself at the expense of another, well, then there's a mismatch. So how about you, Lorraine, when you think of impeccability and how you're impeccable with yourself?
Well, I'm fascinated by that word impeccable, and I think it really has brought me more awareness to what I'm saying and how I communicate and how I deal with things that maybe not appear to be impeccable, but I'm getting more interested in really listening to how I say things, and hopefully that what I say can be to anybody that they understand what I'm saying, and it's very fine line about whether or not they've got my message, or if they feel good about the message, or they're just going to sit back and not say anything. I like to have some feedback on how I tell something or say something or communicate. It's very nice to know that somebody's appreciated what I've said, or if I didn't say it right, maybe I should say it again in a different way. So it is a very fine line about how you can be impeccable with yourself, with myself. So it's very interesting.
Got it. It is interesting. It makes me think of, you know, the opposite of impeccability. You know, what would be the opposite of being impeccable? Hattie Jane?
Trying to think. Well, non-impeccable. Because I was thinking as we were talking that impeccable comes when I see it visually. I think of appearance. I think of place settings in a dinner. I think of the appearance in maybe the appearance, whether it be a human appearance on where you dress, or in an area of living, such as in a home. And that, it's like she's always so impeccably dressed, or she's so impeccably with her makeup, or he's so impeccable with his choice of a tie or whatever. So it's, to my mind, impeccable always has been a view that I see as opposed to being. And yet you'll have someone, for example, who is gifted and dedicated to calligraphy, for example. And when they write with a pen and they form their letters, and it's a very fluid and a very distinct style. And when it's done right and consistent, it is rather impeccable. So it's an interesting territory, because when you think about people being true to the word, being consistent in their communications, being able to say things that people consistently can feel comfortable with, even if they're coming from very varied territories or various reasons, that's still not, that aspect doesn't feel impeccable. Nor does the fact that they're, like, you all are here every Monday. Woohoo, impeccable. So it's an interesting concept to put into a personal perception of what you are.
Very,
I don't know if I made sense or not.
no, totally, very, and you know, it's just noticing the information that we're gathering from one word, and really it's the thing that's standing out for me is this essence of the moment, and how in the moment something can be impeccable, but very quickly that moment is gone and then it's not impeccable. It's very moment. So how about you, Olive? When you think of the opposite of being impeccable, what comes up for you?
Flawed, broken, not trustworthy. The thing that came to my mind first was politicians, but that goes down another path that we don't want to go down. So yeah, mostly not trustworthy, I think, is the word that comes to my mind.
What about you, Dawn Marie?
I would have to agree with Olive, because when I looked up the definition of it, it said free from blame or faultless. So of course, if you're not going to be honest and free from blame, then you're going to be dishonest, and you're not going to, represent yourself very well, because nobody's going to believe what you say. So that's what I think about when I think of the opposite of being impeccable. It's like you're just dishonest.
So what would be, with looking at this, what would be a, if we were to rise above it and see it from a bird's eye view and look at this impeccability and this, be from a bird's eye view some other quality that those two could represent?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lorraine?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, and I quite agree with the opposite of impeccable is being dishonest. And if I could have a bird's eye view about being impeccable, and I'd say that I like with what all of us said, it's okay not to be totally impeccable, but just be yourself. And because there is, the in and outs of, the opposite of not being honest with yourself. But I think pull it back to be honest with yourself and know what your word is. And because it does make you feel a lot better if you know that you're speaking from the heart.
Yeah. Patty Jane, what about you? Taking that outside, third person, bird's eye view.
I'm still in a confused state.
How about you, Olive?
I think you have to achieve a balance of expectations of yourself and the expectations of others, or what you expect from other people. I think it's easier to expect flawless performance from other people than it is to expect that from myself. It's a complicated concept. Yeah, I'll have to think deeper into that one.
Yeah, expectations and how much, you know, it is. It's like, it's, I mean, we all have both, right? That's right. We all do stupid things, right? We all do smart. Contemplate this in relation to, you know, the conversations we've been having have been around the 5 steps to success, which is knowing what you want, asking for it, showing up, keeping your word, and having that natural attitude of gratitude along the way. Recognizing that I'm doing the best I can do with the information I currently have, and that I may make mistakes, and how do I learn from them? And so this, you know, being on point to the best I can be, being myself, being honest and true to myself, you know, has a long ways to go. So we've gathered a lot of information in this conversation. So what will you take away from today that will support you until we talk again? Hattie Jane?
That the vision of perfection still exists, that people expect it to be a reality. In human form.
Mm-hmm.
And yet when I was thinking, well, and then I thought of some beautiful dancing performances. And you can see the human body move with such fluidity and such integration into the sounds of the music and the grace and the lighting and everything just being absolutely delightful to the eye and the ear. And you go, well, maybe there is something perfect out there.
Love it. Awesome. How about you, Olive? What will you take away that will support you until we talk again?
I will take away the fact that we should always be striving to better ourselves and to be forgiving with ourselves and to be forgiving with others, but always strive for that perfection, I guess. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. Thank you. Dawn Marie?
So what I will take away from the session today is that, you know, thank God we don't all think alike. You know, we've all been created to use this the way that he gave it to us to use and to be. And when we do that, you know, we learn different opinions and different thoughts from each other. So I'm going to take away that, you know, it's okay that we don't all see things the same way, but to take what we hear and process it and see, you know, if it's something that, you know, maybe we need to look at a little differently. Maybe we need to not be so judgmental about. Maybe we need to, you know, be a little softer with ourselves about. Maybe we do need to look at it differently, and maybe we don't, and be okay with that. That's what I'm going to take away.
Awesome. Thank you. Lorraine?
What I'll take away from this conversation until we talk again is pretty well on the same vein, is just be yourself and be as true to yourself, and learn to listen to other people and just be okay with just what other people are saying, and not get all get upset about it, and just be true to yourself, to myself. I think that's what I'll take away from this conversation. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you. Well, what I will take away is I had this image with listening and hearing you guys, and when I have this image of a target, you know, there's the target, and then there's, you know, aiming at the target, but the target isn't necessarily, it's just a target. So when I think of impeccable, it's that, you know, like Hattie Jane said, you know, this vision of perfection still exists in the moment, and that sense of striving, right, for it, but it's not the reality of how it shows up somehow, you know. It's not the only thing. Like if I grab onto the target, well, I'm missing everything else. So that's what I take away, is that the target is just the target. It's not the end result, you know, it's just the target. And when I think of impeccability, it's not the end result. It's just the striving, the aim, maybe. So what will you take with you that'll support you for the rest of your life? Olive?
I think I will take the fact that striving every day to be a better person is important, but being gentle with yourself is also important. My takeaway.
Hattie Jane?
That there can be an opportunity to be moments like this, and an opportunity to share and know and learn more and more and be a part. It's exhilarating.
Dawn Marie?
Wow, I agree with both of these ladies, with Olive and Hattie Jane, because you know, how are we going to continue to thrive if we don't, you know, look at both sides of the coin, if you will? So in order to better yourself, you need to be able to, you know, say, okay, this may or may not work for me, and maybe I should apply this, or maybe I don't. And like you said, aiming for the target. And even if you are aiming and you don't hit it, you're still moving forward in life. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that we just continue to grow and continue to be and continue to think and continue to, you know, look at different alternatives to what could or could not be for the individual.
Lorraine?
Yeah, what I'll take away for the rest of my life is pretty well on the same vein, is just being comfortable with whatever I aim for, and be motivated to follow through on some of the things I'm doing, and be good about that. And I just take away a good feeling from today for the rest of my life.
Yes, yes.
Well, what I take away that'll support me for the rest of my life is this, one of the things that I've been aware of, especially through this conversation, is how that we have really dived deep into not only the conscious body, but the subconscious thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and the unconscious heart, and how this mystery that is somewhat impeccable in the sense that you can't touch it and I can't really do anything with it, but there's such a blessing in even being able to have a conversation around a term that is like really almost untouchable. So I feel supported by the fact that we have shown up in our intuition. I feel like we're being guided by our intuition, and the intuition is not really anything that can have any form and structure. And so I feel really I'm going to take away that sense of guidance from being together and choosing to have conversations like this. It's been awesome. So well, thank you, ladies. So
okay,
awesome.
thank you, Lynn. That was absolutely great. Next week, we'll take it next week off. We're just about finished the ownership, and our last one will be P, and we'll book it for the 22nd. I've got something that I'm doing next week that
it's her birthday.
Okay.
We're celebrating her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
So we're going to do P for pleasure.
Okay.
Okay, you guys have a good day, and